Such wise words, such beautiful words. That mantle has been passed on to all of us to take up and pass it on to the next generation. And this is the duty of a disciple to do that. Well, I can imagine what it must have been like to have been in Master's life when he was alive and to have that passing happen. I know I felt that sense of loss when Swamiji passed. But when Master passed, I remember people were very distraught and wondering what can possibly take the place of such a great one when someone passes. It's so great that's in one's life. And as the saying arose, only love is Master's response. Only love can take my place. And that love we carry in our hearts as disciples of the great master to carry that mission forward. And in a sense, in attunement, doing that, we honor our guru, but it's more than honoring. We honor our own highest potential when we do that, because that's our duty, you could say, as disciples, to be the representatives of our guru in the highest way we can, whether it's in the garden working with flowers or whether it's on a lectern teaching or whatever it might be in the kitchen cooking. We each have that particular role, and if we do it well to the highest in attunement, then of course we do our duty as a disciple. The great ones, such as Paramahansa Yogananda, they come for each one of us, of course, but they also come very much to play a special role to guide the masses of souls back to God, to lift world consciousness. And such was the reason, too, of Master's life. He came at that time, a very unique time in history. And of course, we can't say we know God's reasons of why avatar is sent. But if you look at the time when Master came, it was a pivotal time in history. You think of the difference of the world when he was born, 1893. That was a time of the world. Think of India in those days. It was primitive compared to what we have now in the sense materially, outwardly. Think of the world as at large, of how the science was blossoming and coming forth. It was before the time of electrification. It was before the time of automobiles. And then look at his life at the time of his passing, 1952. The world had completely changed. Great Britain, which was the world power in the time of his birth, what had happened? It had declined. India had attained its independence. The world colonization was on the wane, if not almost completely gone. And we see ourselves now in a very different world. I don't think the changes when I was born in 1946 to now, I don't think they were nearly as great as they were in that age. And that was the age in which Master came. He came to usher in a new age. He was right for his times. And when that time of his lifetime was a time of tremendous change and adjustment, you might say, of society to a new era that had come. And that was an era that had, of course, had been predicted by his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar. But it was awakened and ready for new message to carry it into this new era that was unfolding at that time. It's just as materially things had changed outwardly, socially things had changed outward, in terms of world politics, things had changed tremendously. But the inner life also that is behind all of that. Thought precedes energy in outward form. That was changing also, just very naturally, but a guidance, perhaps God foresaw, a guidance was needed. So a master came. And at times of difficulty or times of great change, it's said that there's the descent of an avatar. And that change was halting and it went at different paces around the world. And it's not something that was going to happen in a very short period of time. That period of change, we're speaking about yugas, long term, and it's still changing. It's like tidal waves. They come and they break. around the world and in different times around the world, moving around the world. And of course, when you have a tidal wave, there's the implication there of disruption, of old ways being washed away as they're disrupted, and new energy, of course. The old, we lament that it went, oh, and it seems like we miss it. We think, oh, it was too bad. That was a catastrophe. But yet, when the you could say when the land is cleared of the old, it allows for new things to spring forth. And that's that change of away with the old, in with the new, was ushered in those the on a very subtle level by our guru. And those forces play out in the macro world, in the larger world around us, but they also play out in the micro world within the consciousness of individuals on a very subtle level. Because, actually, my experience of life is that individuals, a new consciousness, new waves come, but any one individual, it doesn't change that much. But I think we're seeing now a new generation comes in to replace the old. Young souls coming in who are open and receptive to what this age into which we're moving has to offer. Those who'll be understanding and can, you might say, relate to the teachings of our guru on a much deeper level. That new generation is coming in, and I think we're seeing this happening right now, and it's an inevitability. But this, we could say, Yogananda was the forerunner. You mean the person in front that led this on a spiritual level. But even in the short span of one lifetime, so many things have been transformed on this planet, certainly in my lifetime, but it's going to continue. And it's just some of the things that you might say, some of the movements, the things that have been ushered in, the commonality, ushering in, we're into an age of learning to work together in common rather than emphasizing those things that unite us. And of course, Babaji predicts this too uh, in the prediction that Kriya will one day spread throughout the world, uniting souls in their brother and sisterhood in God. And that era is central, or that message is central to Master's teachings, coming in, introducing these techniques of Kriya Yoga, the commonality, not outwardly, because we differ, and you could say there's a certain beauty in the differences that we see God expressed in so many different ways, but that's not who we are. And I think we're coming to that understanding that who we are is that we're children of God, we're children in spirit, and we are going to, in generations to come, are going to experience that through their personal experience rather than just taking that as a platitude or as a fond belief. We're going to see a universality of consciousness being introduced into the world in the centuries ahead. Yeah, I don't say years ahead, I say centuries ahead, because this is a long rhythm change that is taking place. But I think you can see also that it's accelerating. There's so sectarianism that separates East and West, North and South, one race from another race, one religion, one belief from another. I think this is a passing phase. And our masters have played a central role of inspiring that universality. We see now, of course, energy is the foundation rather than matter. We see conscious of matter, the equivalency there. Consciousness is the foundation of both of them. And we begin to think in terms of energy movement, in terms of a flow rather than fixed position. And you can see how these struggles that are principles are playing out in the world today, in politics and society, and to the tumult that we sometimes see around us. And we think, oh, sometimes it can be a bit of a discouragement to see, oh, the old saying, world is going to hell in a handbasket. I don't really buy into that. I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of change. A new expression has been brought into this world that are taking root. So keep that in mind. This is a positive thing. And Master was a master of joy. He was a master of a positive spirit, of embracing change, embracing the future with that spirit. And I think to the degree we do that in our own personal lives, we express our master's will for us and our master's will for the world as a whole. He came, all of these changes that I've been speaking about, Master came, you could say, as a personification of those changes. He came to plant seeds. Now, in his lifetime, those seeds were not going to all sprout. Takes years, decades, maybe it takes lifetimes for those seeds, but slowly, one by one, they're beginning to come up out of the ground, and they're going to bear fruit. And this message was not his message, Yogananda's message, in terms of personality. This is God's message. This is the message of the great ones. And Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, was an instrument of something larger. He came at the behest of Babaji. It was not his choice, perhaps, to come to the West. Babaji sent him. And as it says in the autobiography of Yogi, it is Babaji who is guiding the spiritual unfoldment of this age. So I ask all of you, step back. And yes, Master passes, it's the passing of a great soul, and it touches our heart in each one of us individually. You say, oh, I wish you would have been here longer. I wish I could have been there with him. And the same thing, we say the same thing for Swamiji. But we know it's in the scheme of things, we step back and see that there's something larger going on. And that something larger is something in which we all play a part. And of course, as the tradition says, that an avatar comes to destroy demons. And what are those demons? They're ignorance, darkness within each one of us. That's not, he doesn't, we think of it, he comes in an outward way, the demons outwardly in this world, light over darkness. And of course, perhaps that's as well too. But it's really, they come for the demons within that infests all of us, which is ignorance, the misunderstanding, or within individually, selfishness. And Master said, even of the Second World War, the deeper cause of that war was selfishness. And that selfishness rests within the hearts of each individual soul. And we have to root that out. Attachment, darkness. So come. And they come, the great ones, to awaken us into the light. They came, you could say, to redeem and uplift souls. They could be called, the great masters are yogi messiahs. They come to redeem us, to lift us up, to those who open their heart to receive what they have. To all those who receive them, gave he the power to become the sons of God. And much of what a true master does is incomprehensible to the average person, and we don't know. And then they do signs and wonders, to catch your attention, but we don't see the larger picture. But they do miracles, but the real miracle a great one does is they change the devotee's heart. They change each individual heart, and even these many years later, hearts are being changed daily. Great ones who come into contact with that ray, either through Master's books or through Master's disciples, the legacy that is being passed down. And that certainly happened to me when I came into contact with Master's ray. My life took an entirely different course. And maybe it's the same also for you, but that impact continues to this day. He gave hope to all who were searching for meaning in life. That's what we need. We need, and even those of us who follow, is to give meaning and purpose. In a materialistic age in such we live in, there's a sense of loss of direction. Why are we living? Why are we doing this? When we're seeking material things alone, it satisfies for a moment. But after it, pretty soon we realize that's not what I really want. He offered a vision. He was the guru of Dwapara Yuga. And the great ones come to make those changes, to be instruments of those changes. They can't make all the changes in their own lifetime. They need to pass this on. And we, as the disciples, are like links in a chain, passing these teachings on to others to carry it forwards. The Master have us, all of those who came after the students and disciples, as a legacy, you could say, to share that message with others. And many souls have felt the blessings of the Masters. Many have been touched, but many more are waiting to be touched. And we, as the disciples and the followers, in his path, are they going to be the instruments of that? We must take that up as our, you could say, our discipleship. We have, right now, the world at large, each of us have an open door before us to serve, many opportunities to serve. And it's often the case, if not always, that it is through the disciples who spread a great work, a great message is spread. Jesus Christ, when he came into the world, he touched a few, but he certainly touched 12 willing, and I'm sure it was more than those 12 who were willing and who had a deeper understanding. It was through that small group of people that message of Christ went out into the world, and they were act as instruments for that. And Swamiji said something that I want to conclude with. He said, he advised all of us, those who are serious about following the Master's teachings, to not hesitate to ask others to commit themselves to high principles of the Masters, or the high principles that we have in our own lives have made, to put those ideals into practice. He said, if you've made the commitment yourself, he says, you should seriously ask others also. Don't be afraid to ask others to live in that same way, to embrace those ideals. And you could say it's to whoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more in abundance. But whoever from him shall be taken away, those who doesn't have. In other words, those who are willing to serve, willing to give, willing to ask others to also join in, more will be given. Blessings will become ours. So don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to ask others to commit to joining in, not for any selfish reasons, because if we have experienced joy in this lifetime, let's share it. Share it with others. And not only just share it, invite people to also share, and they'll feel all of us together be instruments of the great Master and fulfilling that fantastic legacy that Master has brought. He came to change the world, and that legacy will be fulfilled, and it can be filled through us. And if not us, who? It will find its way, and those through whom that message passes to the next generation, on and on, they are the ones who will be blessed. So we have an open door before us to receive those blessings. Let's take up that work and share it with others, and we will be the ones who are blessed. God bless you.
I'd like to add a few words as well. Thank you, Jaya, for that wonderful talk. Someone asked Swamiji at a certain point here in India, why didn't we meet Master? And I always loved Swamiji's answer. He said, how do you know you didn't? And I think for all of us, we likely have the Guru's love and guidance. He's with us all the time. It's an eternal bond. And so, yes, at the time of Mahasamadhi, we feel a sadness. Master left his body before I came. Why did he go? But we have to be assured that we've been with him before. And it's a very high birth. We've been with an avatar and a direct disciple of Master Swamiji. That's a great blessing and a high birth for all of us. And I think we need to, besides honoring Master's life and his Mahasamadhi and all, we need to look forward. As Jayaji is saying, where do we go from here? And Master himself said, to those who think me near, I am near. And he proved it many times that there was a woman at Ananda village, a mother of someone who was walking, and she saw this man who she had seen the pictures before, and she said, that looks like Yogananda. And she asked him, do you come here often? And he said, look, I'm here all the time. And Master is there. We have to draw the presence, feel he's there, ask him for his guidance, have the faith that he's with us all the time. And otherwise, it becomes like the past, that this happened and it was nice it happened, and oh, he helped he had lectures all in the past. But Swamiji, Master passed a baton to Swamiji, and he passed it on to us. And when Swamiji, Master told him, you have a great work to do, it included us in fulfilling Master's legacy and taking it forward. And when Swamiji said he came here to India to get Master's name and his teachings known in India, the land of his birth, that's why we're all here. I recall coming first to Ananda, and I thought, oh, I'm so happy I came to Master's teachings and Ananda. I said, I'm so happy I'm here. Now I can learn how to meditate. I can improve my life. And I found, just being with Swamiji, that Master's teachings include sharing, as Jayaji's saying, giving, helping other people, serving. And I had no concept of that from at the beginning. But as I began to do it, I began to feel so much more joy, so much more energy flowing, so much more upliftment of consciousness. And that was Master's blessing. And so for all of us, yes, it's important for us to have our own sadhana, have our own spiritual path. But Master came also, he came, as Jayaji sang, for a world mission. Not even just for this time. He's come over and over and over. He said he'd come until there's one less brother, one stray brother left behind. He would keep coming back. And so he's continued to bring his teachings of vibrations, the joy, the love, the power of God to change people. We have to ask ourselves, are we willing to be instruments and channels for our guru? Not, am I just willing to have blissful meditation, but am I willing to continue Master's work, his message, his vibrations, his power? Am I willing to continue? Or are we going to make Master's life like a museum? It happened, it was nice, I put his picture on the wall. Or Ananda, I'm going to say Ananda came for sure to continue Master's mission and his work through communities, through all the writings, through centers, through outreach, through reaching people, through being accessible and talking to people and giving Master's vibrations and his love and the techniques and Kriya and all these things. We incarnated for this. And I love what Swamiji would often say, he said, everything else is fillers. You think it's so important, my job, my position, my this, my that. Everything else is fillers. We have to realize Master called us to help his work. And we said, yes, I will come. And to the degree that you open yourself, that's the degree that he can serve and work through you. So how can we go forward? First of all, we have to emulate what Master, let him live in us. Let him live in you. Not just, oh, he was so wonderful and everything happened, but think of the qualities Master had and try to emulate those qualities in your life. First one was dynamic energy. We have to have dynamic energy. It's not a passive path. It's for spiritual warriors, people who are willing to get out there on the front lines and make things happen. So dynamic energy. He would run on the platform, his hair streaming back. He would ask people, how feels everybody? How is everybody? He would play chants when nobody chanted in America. And he would do affirmations and have people up doing all kinds of things and healing techniques. And he was dynamic. And I think in our own lives, we have to think, I need to be like Master. At least in some degree, dynamism, energy and dynamism, and energizing every day gives you a whole lot of Shakti. If you don't do energization, you feel wimpy, limp, don't want to do anything. So first thing is, how can I be more energetic and dynamic? And secondly, Master had, he had divine love flowing through him. And, you know, Swamiji asked Master, how can I love you as much? Teach me how to love you as much as you love me. And Master said, how can the little cup the ocean of God's love. And Swamiji realized he had to open himself more. And as we pray for love, pray that Divine Mother come in, that Master through you can express the vibration of love in this world. It's so much needed, and not just your children, your husband and your wife, but as Swamiji said, just in anything you do, just feel I'm an instrument of divine vibrations, of divine love, of Master's love, just to smile at someone or helping someone. Master met this man. He was a little bit inebriated, and he came up to Master and says, "How are you, Jesus Christ?" And Master looked at him, and he just gave him some of his divine power and divine love. And the man, he got sober, and he looked at Master and he says, "Hey, what have you been drinking?" And Master said, "Oh, it says got a lot of kick in it." And, you know, when things are going not so well, people aren't so happy around you, whatever, just feel that power of love is flowing through you. Another wonderful quality of Master's was compassion, that he had deep compassion for people's sorrows and sufferings. And he would walk in Los Angeles in front of the bars, just praying for people to be able to be healed from drinking. And who knows what happened inside there. He probably healed a lot of people. And we all know the story. He went to that shop and he bought all those things. And the one who was with him said it was a bunch of junk. But Master, he could feel. He asked the person, stop the car. And he went in and he bought these things. And then afterwards, the woman broke down in tears. And she said, "I so badly needed this, just this amount today." God sent him. Compassion is another quality we should try to emulate. It's not enough to read the books and chant and do something. And another is meditation, Kriya Yoga. The more we can do Yoganandaji's, the gurus, the techniques of Dwapara Yuga, the more we can do them. Kriya is spreading light. It's helping the whole world. Every time you sit to do Kriya, you're sending out blessings. You're sending out light. You're sending out vibrations of harmony. Every time you chant, and we had the music app launch last night, you sing Swamiji's music or chant the chants, you're sending out a big ray of light and vibrations that's harmonizing the vibrations of this world is so desperately needed. Every time we do our yoga and harmonizing ourselves, which creates harmony around us and energization and all the practices, every time we read these holy books that we have, all the books that were written and Master's lessons, and every time we are an instrument of the vibrations of light spreading. You have to want to do it. And when you do it, for me, I'm going into a bliss state. That's not enough. I'm spreading this. I'm doing Kriya for the world. What a wonderful phrase to think of in your mind. And finally, in service, that Master gave his whole life. His whole life was service. And when he was young, he had different groups, he had meditation groups, and he was doing various things and helping people. He would have big times when he would have prasad for hundreds of people. And he always was thinking, how can I give? How can I serve? How can I give? How can I serve? We have to have that mantra. How can I give? How can I serve? And ask Guruji, what do you want me to do? How can I do more and better, as Gyanamata said? And I'm with Ananda, we're doing so much. We can do a lot more, but you look at Master is alive in Ananda. He's alive through the classes that are happening all over, all the centers, the meditation groups, education for life, yoga being taught, and yoga teacher training, meditation teacher training, all of the various groups that we have going online, home study, the publications, the books, the music. We need to just keep moving forward. We're going forward with Master's mission, his his vibrations, what God sent him for. He needs channels. And as Swamiji said to us, when Master said, you have a great work to do, and Rajarsi Janakananda said to him, Master said that to you, Walter, and he said, he will give you the strength to do it. And Swamiji looked at us at one point, I'm sure he said it many times, and he said to a big group of people, and you all are part of that strength. And we have to take our place as disciples of this great master, serving him, being channels for him in this world, and not think, well, I'm just, I don't do anything. Well, you do. And if you don't do something, get up and make things happen. Be a part of the work, a part of the center, a part of the Ananda through online or however. And let's make our guru proud. Let's make his work known. And let's give his blessings, his joy, his teachings, everything he gave us. Music, yoga, everything, community centers, everything Master gave. Hold it in your hands like a baton and let us pass it on to the whole world. And then we'll have incarnated for the right purpose. We'll have lived our lives as Master, our Guru. Why he sent us here. It's not by chance we came this close after Master's Mahasamadhi. He sent us to help him and to help his work. And in doing that, we ourselves can grow and find God. I'm going to close with this poem, God's Boatman. Close your eyes and feel the Guru's vibrations in these words that he wrote. I want to ply my boat many times across the gulf after death and return to earth's shores from my home in space. I want to load my boat with all those waiting, thirsty ones who have been left behind, that I may carry them to the opalescent pool of iridescent joy, there where my Father distributes his all desire quenching liquid peace. Oh, I will come back again and again, crossing a million crags of suffering with bleeding feet. I will come, if need be, 1,000,000,000 times, as long as I know that one stray brother is left behind. I want thee, O God, that I may give thee to all. I want salvation, that I may give it to all. Free me then, O Lord, from the bondage of this body, that I may show others how they too can free themselves. I want thine everlasting happiness, but I want also to share it with others, that all my brothers may find the way to happiness forever and forever in thee. Om Shanti Shanti.